everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, I guess we're continuing the supernatural chat because we're talking to Miss Alida Morrill. And friends, I think you want to stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I am here with the lovely Miss Alida Morrill. How are you today, ma'am?
I am doing awesome. I'm so happy to be here.
We're glad to have you as well. Welcome to the GSL Talk Show.
Yay.
Thank you for not being scared to come on by and see us.
I'm not.
Awesome. I would love to learn more about you. So if you could start off by telling us where you are, where you're from and everything like that. And just a little bit about yourself. We can get this conversation started.
Love it. Okay. So I was born and raised in California. So Northern California. I was born in Berkeley, raised in Oakland, and ended up on a journey that landed me in Texas in 1976. And I've been here ever since. It's been a wonderful state to raise my 3 children in. I now have 7 grandchildren. And I worked actually 40 years in corporate America before I opened up to my gifts. And so I retired in 2008. I now say I graduated because I have this 13. I've been doing this work for 13 years. I had 1 year of a great awakening. And then 13 years doing what I'm doing now. So,
sounds a little elusive. Oh, we got to see what's going on. That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds like you have an amazing life. Shout out to you. Look, the seeds have been flourishing. You see and growth in a variety of ways. You have the grandchildren now and everything like that. How is that for you?
I love having grandchildren. As a matter of fact, I have 2 grandchildren that live in Houston, and I have 3 grandchildren that live in the house I'm in. So I lived next door to my daughter, son-in-law, 3 grandchildren for about 12 years. And after my grandson, who was in high school at the time, said, I don't think this makes any sense that we live in 2 houses. He said, I wish we could build a room on to our house for you to come live in. And I'm thinking over my dead body, right? Because I had my space. And so my daughter and I got to talking about Spencer. This is my grandson, was talking to both of us at the same time. And so we started talking together about it and realized that we could sell both houses and build a new one that's larger. So ultimately we merged. So I have the absolute joy we've been in the merged house about 5 years, going on 6 maybe. And through this time, I have 1 grandson's graduating from Notre Dame this year. And then I have another grandson who's off in the Navy. He's so happy. And then my granddaughter still lives here and she's a junior in high school. And it's been so amazing because I'm the matriarch of our family. And with my gifts, they're, my grandchildren are constantly saying, Granny, would you clear me? So it's really been special. It's really special.
That's amazing. See, I didn't know all of that. That's really cool. I know this sounds like my mom's dream. I know she, I guess, had in her mind that we would do something similar as well. But I guess I'm the bird that kind of flew away. I mean, I'm still in the state now, but I used to live in Florida at one point because we're in Georgia. And but I moved back home, but I'm not like in our hometown or anything like that. But I think that's probably one of her dreams. That she thought, like, I guess the families would merge in that way.
It's been amazing, right? I mean, we have a big house. I have my own bedroom that's kind of its own zip code over the double garage. And so, you know, I have plenty of space. I have my studio where I do my work. I mean, everything's beautiful here. Mm-hmm.
Hey, well, I mean, hey, if it works, it works. You know, I know some families might be like, oh, you know. So I'm glad to hear that it's working.
Yeah, it is.
That's amazing. Now I know you've kind of given us a little. I don't know. I feel like we just kind of dip a toe into this idea about your gifts and things like that. And it sounds like you had this awakening and huge transition that has happened in your life, especially from corporate America to what you're doing now. So I would love to hear a little bit more. Like what's going on, Miss Alida?
Well, so I retired from corporate America in March of 2008 and went on I was so young at the time, I'm teasing, but I was young enough that I still wanted to make more income. My retirement didn't really cover my retirement. So I have funds. So I went on a path to do an Arbonne business, which is healthy skincare. It's a multi-level marketing business, skincare. And I did awesome, but I made no money. Okay. And so obviously that was just a step on my path because it taught me about clean, healthy products that you put on your body and clean, healthy products you should be eating. Okay. So that was my first year. Then in February of 2009 was my great awakening. And what literally happened is that I was running at the time. I was a runner, distance runner. And I was seeing a chiropractor frequently. Well, my chiropractor went on maternity leave, and so I got a new one. Well, my chiropractor came back from maternity leave, called me on the phone and said, I get you should come see me. I'm back working again. And I'm going, I felt so uncomfortable. I set an appointment. So 2 weeks before the appointment, I had just seen my new chiropractor and I thought, I need to push that out. I don't need to see her. So I pushed it out. No, that was actually about a week before the appointment. I pushed it out. So then the night before the changed appointment, I came home to my voice recorder system. We had those then, and heard I had an appointment the next day. Well, it was too late to cancel. So I went, well, I guess I'm going, right? So I go to the appointment. I lay down on the chiropractic table. She does kinesiology, which is muscle testing with my arm, my right arm. And I'm sitting there and she goes, oh, I feel sadness. And I went, huh? There isn't any part of me that's sad. So she tests again. And she said, yep, there's sadness. Immediately the thought hit my mind that, so bear with this, it's the truth. My ex-husband, who I'd been married to 17 years, my second husband, and he was an extreme narcissist, the clinical kind that really couldn't change. I tried. Well, he committed suicide about a week or two ago. And she said, oh, that's him. He's here and you need to talk to him. And I went, so I'm laying there on the table. She walks away. I'm laying on the table and I think, oh, I do feel him. So I said to him, I loved you once. I don't anymore. You hurt me and you hurt my children. We're happy now and you need to leave. And I remember that so clearly. And I felt a release. Tears were streaming down my cheeks. I had no idea what this energy was, what I was feeling. And so the chiropractor comes back to the table, tests me again with my right arm. And she goes, oh, he's gone now, but he's up in that corner and he's really angry. I went, well, that would be him. So that was the beginning of my journey. I realized that there was something to this and that I set another appointment with the chiropractor for 2 weeks out and I kept seeing her every 2 weeks. And we just uncovered things. One day she told me, hey, you're a crystal healer. You ought to get a quartz crystal and carry it in her pocket. So I went to the rock store, right, the crystal store, and I bought a quartz crystal and carried it in my pocket. Okay, I'll do that. But she also told me, you ought to come to this meeting that's every Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. And I said, well, I can't get there till 9:30 because I have another meeting. She says, that's fine, just come. Well, then I realized I'm sitting there among these other women and they're all healers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I was just slowly opening up during those first few months. But by the middle of the year, so 6 months later, the two of us were collaborating. Okay. There's no more me going to see her. We're collaborating and we're going on this journey that was, I mean, it was crazy because I was learning about energies, about dark energies. I was going to a class at a Lightworker sanctuary here in the Dallas area. And I was learning how to grow my intuition because I thought that was a good idea. And it was like, I could sit and go through all kinds of stories, but ultimately 1 year, so February of 2010, she was starting to get some information and she said, I think this is for you. Okay. And what it was all the information that I needed to clear people. So it was information that I could use as clearing protocols. And so that's how that happened. And I created my protocol at that time. Amazing, huh?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It's definitely definitely. So hey, okay. So, I mean, there's so many questions, but at the same time, I mean, I'm sure there's more to the story and everything that's going on. But okay, so basically, the journey. You would say that so you say you have a title at this point, or no?
A title?
Yes, ma'am. In regards to like a certain.
Yes. Okay. So what happened is, so I'll kind of continue my story a little bit. So once that I created that protocol, it was very interesting because people started calling me. All of my business, at least 95% of my business, is word of mouth. Okay. So people would call me because I met people at the Lightworker sanctuary in classes. So people started figuring out that I could help them. Okay. And so I called myself an energy coach because I cleared their energy. So that's my title and I use it today. So if I'm in an elevator, what I say, what do you do? Well, I clear people's bad juju. I make it kind of fun because literally that's what I do. So during that was February, I was doing these test cases is what I called them. Oh, another test case, right? So I would let people call me. It would go into my voicemail. I'd listen to the recording and I'd ask. So my relationship is with God. So I'd say, well, can I help them? And then I'd get a yes. Okay. Do I know what to do? Yes. Okay. Am I safe to do this work? Yes. And then I'd call them back and help them. And I'd also figured out I could do this as a business. Okay. So I created a website and I got a whole bunch of stuff ready. So I was ready. Okay. And probably it was about May. I can't remember the exact time frame, but I had a person call me and the additional question I started asking was, can I charge them? And I got a yes. And so the shingle went out and I was basically then in business because I could get money as a exchange for doing the work. So that's how it all happened. And so that was in less than a year and a half. I went from opening up to what is this energy around me to actually being in a business doing it. That's amazing.
It is quite interesting. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so well, with this being GSL and all, I mean, and no judgment from me, whatever you say or whatever the case is. So you were saying that you believe in God, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, and so what do you mean by that in regards to? Because I know people can mean a lot of different things when they say that.
When I say I believe in God, I believe it's the highest power that is here supporting me. Okay. So I think of myself as, especially as I do this work, that I want to be, covered in God's love and light. Right. So the way I look at it is that, let me see if I can get this in here in my thing. I see myself as in like a pointed cone up to the top. So I have around me all my helpers, all my angels, all my mothers here, okay? And it goes all the way up to the top, which is God. It's the Holy Spirit, is Jesus Christ. I believe in all that. And I believe that they support me, and they support me by also bringing me angels and archangels to help with my work. Because every moment of every day, I know that all my thoughts are manifesting what I'm bringing into my life. Okay. And so every moment of every day, I am here. I am ready to help anybody that needs my help. Okay. So I have a heart as big as my body, right? Maybe even expands. But I love people. I love life. I love everything that's with me. And I believe that is because I am so incredibly connected to God. And so if we stop and think about it, God is everything, right? So if we have God up at the top and it's showering down all these helpers that I have, they're all God too. So I feel really immersed in the concept of, of God being an imminent part of my life.
Well, yeah, like I said, I know it, it's important to ask and everything like that, because people can mean all kinds of different things. I think those that probably watch here, or maybe not. I mean, I don't know who all watches when it comes to GSL Talk Show and everything like that. But I think perhaps most when they say God, it would probably mean like Jesus, and then and study the Bible and things of that nature. At least I know I do,
right?
And that's what I share here and stuff. And so I think there's definitely like supernatural things, and I think everything the Bible tells us is and whatnot is real, but I think that probably people might struggle or might be confused, right? To hear like in regards to what you do. So I think, but at the same time too, I think that people are familiar enough to know like another side when it comes to like prayer or things like that. They believe that side as well. So I think it's just like it's like two different how can I say, like concepts that that we're familiar with as believers in Christ or whatever, but at the same time we're not fully familiar with enough to really know. So let
me take it a different way. Okay. The Bible does talk about demons. So I treat it very lightly. All right. When I said I was introduced to dark energy, that was demons. Okay. So in my work, I am always clearing demonic presence. And I don't talk about it that way because I choose to say, oh, it's just dark, because I'm flicking it off my shoulder. What are these dark energies? And so I might just be a granny. Okay. But I am extremely powerful to get people clear. Okay. And so let me talk about what I created, which is my mind went blank. The awareness level scale. Okay. So I was using in the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins. He has a map of consciousness, which goes from 0 to 1,000. 0 to 200 is below the line. So people in prison and stuff are there. Then from 200 to 1,000 is your path to complete enlightenment. All right. Now, I was using that when I first started, but then I had people over the scale and I'm going, what is this? And then I immediately got through my strong intuition that I'm operating on a different scale, and I'm calling it the awareness level scale. So my scale goes from 0 to infinity. There's no upper limit. So as I watch people, 0 is in denial, 1 is open to possibilities, and it goes all the way. So when I'm working with a client, I'm getting where they are on that scale. right? So everybody that's, you believe in the Bible, you want to grow your awareness and be closer to God. Well, that's what this scale is, okay? So I might have someone, my most recent client was at 50,000, okay, when she came in. And when we finished clearing her and getting rid of the energies that didn't belong, she was at 100,000. Now, what I want to tell you is that there is below the line, okay? And so what is below the line? Well, the way I put it on my scale is a dash, it's then 2 dashes, it's then 3 dashes, and then 4 dashes, okay? And 4 dashes all the way down on my scale is possessed, okay? 3 dashes is overcome. And so they become different lighters. So I only clear down to people overcome. I don't clear possessed people. That's not my gift, okay? So somehow that might help you understand a little bit more of what I do, because this time in our world, there is a lot of negative energy. There's a lot of evil, okay? It's here, all right? And it's not only here in people that are doing evil things, and then they draw the demons in. If you saw Rihanna at the Super Bowl, she was possessed, from my opinion, okay? So we can see this going on in our world. Also in the ethers, we have angels and we have demons, right? We're fighting it all the time. So my gifts just take me up to, and I haven't really dealt with anybody below the line in several years. Okay. So, but I just wanted you to have that perspective. I thought that would help.
Yeah. I think, any information you can share with us in the audience and whatnot, would be great, because, I think, again, fellow believers are, familiar with certain terms, or familiar, at least what the Bible says, those that study, they are,
Yes.
but at the same time, I feel like, at least, and how can I say this? I don't feel like the church as a whole really tackles this the way it probably should. I know actually the guest that the episode before this one should air is another lady that's had some supernatural experiences and whatnot as well. And so I find it to be interesting that I'm talking to y'all back to back, and stuff. So, hey, there's obviously everything happens for a reason, X, Y, and Z. When you were just sharing that to me, now I recall what you're saying that you do is something along the lines of maybe even casting out demons or something along those lines. I think people would be more familiar with it being said in that way. Do you see that?
Yes, I
feel like that's what you do.
Yes, I do. That's exactly why I brought it up to you, is that I do cast out demons, but I don't talk to my clients that I'm doing that, because a lot of people can't. That would scare them away almost, right? So I'm talking to them about extreme dark energies. And I said, and it's demonic, but I tell them, and I actually, I have a list. When I first started this work, I had a list of 20 negative polarities that I was clearing. They were dark energies, and they were things like black magic and green gases and voodoo, all these things, curses. These things are real, okay? And so I was clearing that list of 20. Well, as 13 years have gone by, that list is 74, okay, items on it that I clear from people. And I have another list that I call extreme dark energy, because as someone would come see me, I'm going, oh, they have something darker, demonic, that's darker than anything on my list. What is it? And I would get guidance that it was some type of a dark energy, that I would learn how to clear it. So I'm going to tell you something. When it comes to a demon, I can't clear it. When I've cleared them, they backlashed on me, and that doesn't feel very good. So what I do is I write the clearing. So I literally type out the clearing for that energy, and I ask Archangel Michael to do that. So Archangel Michael is, he's the warrior angel. So he's the fighter. He's got the sword, right? And so I ask him to clear it. And you know what? whenever I've done that, my clients go, oh, wow, I feel weight off my shoulders. Oh, I feel lightness in my chest that I didn't ever have before. Or they just feel lighter and brighter every time I do one. And it's kind of like, oh, I guess that worked, right? Because I'm just Granny writing these clearings and helping people. And so they feel so much better. It's like, well, thank you guys. I mean, I've had some terrible clearings that I've done. And then, so I'll even tell you one. I got a call during the time I was doing test cases, and it was a girl in her car, and the radio was going back and forth. The door locks were going up and down, and she saw a black cloud, and she called me, and I listened to that message. And that's when I said, can I help her? And I got a yes. Am I safe to help her? I got a yes. Well, do I know what to do? And I got a yes. So I called her, and I just literally ran my protocol. And during that call, the radio stopped going, switching back and forth. The door locks settled down, and the black cloud dissipated. And that, I believe that happened while I was doing test cases, because God wanted to make sure that I knew that I could do that. Okay. Isn't that interesting? So that my gifts are, I'm kind of casual about it. But they're really serious, because people have serious issues with energies like that. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think I know that's what the previous guest was sharing as well, that like when she was trying to get an understanding of some of the things that she was encountering and whatnot, unfortunately, because again, I feel like, well, what she shared was that the church, she felt like she couldn't really get information from the church, and so she would go and look elsewhere into things, and then found herself kind of mixed up with the other side or demonic things in regards to, which would need even more, I guess, we would consider to be prayer and whatnot. So I think that's an interesting thing too, these terms you're using, because I've never heard, like clearing and,
Yes.
and I guess writing, you were saying about like you write. Can you help me understand it?
Okay, I will. So, so I don't know, this might show or not, but this is just, you can see, you don't have to read the words, that this is just, this like is a chart. This is a chart of all, and it's pages long, of all the clearings that I call them clearings that I have. Okay. And then I have this document that's 15 pages long, and these, so this is, this is the energy, okay, and this is the clearing I wrote for each one, okay. And so I'm writing it down, because what I've learned is that when a new dark energy just came in last week, okay, I called it black, and then in parentheses, dark as night, okay. It was really dark. It was really impacting this woman, okay. And so all I wrote down on my sheet here is black, dark as night. And I still have to write the clearing. But what ends up happening is that I've seen it 3 times over the weekend. I actually saw the last one just right before this call. All right. So once I've seen 3, remember my test cases, right? Then it's, this is real, and I better write a clearing. So today, sometime during the day, I will write the clearing. So how did I clear it the first 3 times? I said, Archangel Michael, I have found a new dark energy. I need your help to remove it from Sally. This is not helpful energy for her, and she needs to be freed from it. Please clear her. That's what I do. It's amazing. It works, right? I got to say something. Prayer is really important to me. Every one of these clearings is a prayer, okay? Every thought I have is a prayer. I better keep them good, because God doesn't say, oh, she's praying now, I'm going to listen to her. He doesn't say that. He listens to every word I say. And so I got to make them all good, right? So I tend to think a lot in terms of prayer. It's really important to me. Mm-hmm. And if I think something that I shouldn't, like I think negatively about a person, or I get angry, I go, oh, cancel that. I don't want that in my life. So, yeah.
So is this something that you learned at the, the training and whatnot that you went through, or is it something that came to you to say, like, you feel like God revealed to you, hey, you need to start writing down these prayers or whatever the case is?
Well, okay. So
am I getting too deep?
I love it. I love it. So during my year of waking up, I read many, many, many books. Okay. One of the books I read was The Law of Attraction. Okay. So the law of attraction is that every thought we have is what we're manifesting. So I learned these tools. I learned the one command by Sarah Lovejoy. The one command is a way to think positive about what we want. So many people think about what they don't want, and then they wonder why it's coming into their life, right? Right? Oh man, I'm walking to the mailbox, no more bills, no more bills. Please God, no more bills. I can't pay them. Well, guess what? Right? So better yet, to walk to the mailbox and say, a one command, which is, I don't know how all my bills are paid. I only know they are now, and I'm grateful and fulfilled. So the one command allows us to think in terms of what we want already happened, right? And so it's a much better way to keep our energy. That is the baseline of my work, right? So even if I'm going to clear someone, I'm like, someone's coming to my house for a session, I'm like, thanks God for helping me know everything I need to know and doing everything I need to do to help Susie. Okay. So I'm constantly in prayer with the positive outcome that I want. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does. I mean, again, to me, this sounds like, the Bible telling us to, pray without ceasing, things of that nature, So, yeah, I think because we don't necessarily address these things, at least it doesn't seem like, I'll put it like that. I don't think most churches address these things, and not much. Some do. Some are out there doing probably work that you're doing or similar or something like that, or whatever the case is. But I think the body of Christ as a whole needs to get more familiar with the supernatural side of things, because ultimately these are the battles that we are fighting and whatnot. And so I know the Bible has a lot to say about it and whatnot. I'm trying to think. I haven't necessarily studied myself in regards to exactly how to handle certain things. I mean, outside of just in general studies, I see what Jesus did. I see, obviously, he cast out demons. Obviously, he healed people, things of that nature and things like that. So, I feel like that it has a lot to say in regards to, what should be done and how it should be done and whatnot like that. But I guess that's the only thing I kind of feel like really this conversation might be confusing to some people.
Right?
Like I think in general, like some people, if say for example they're not familiar with your background, like what you believe, all this type of stuff, I feel like they would hear what you're saying and possibly either confuse it with what maybe we want to say the world does, or maybe what people that do dabble in dark energy and whatnot do, versus, or if they do have a biblical understanding of whatnot, then maybe they might understand, where you're coming from and whatnot as well. But I don't know. This is just me and my random observation. I'm just thinking that people might be confused.
Well, it's interesting because I'll touch on something I dealt with a lot about 2 years ago, maybe less, but witchcraft. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was getting witchcraft to clear all the time, right? And so especially in, I'm going to say, the bigger world. Okay. So the big world around us, there's so much witchcraft that's done. Witchcraft on weather and witchcraft on this and witchcraft on that. And I was clearing it constantly for a while. I haven't had to clear it lately. It hasn't been coming up as a problem. People would come in where someone cast a spell on them. So let me just say something that happens all the time in our world. And it's that somebody gets mad at their friend and it's like, man, I'd wish they'd break their leg. You know what I mean? Or they say, man, I'd wish they'd have money trouble. They cast a spell. Those are real. So if ever anyone has the negative thought to another person that wishes them unwell, that is energy. So that's what I get in the middle of to take off of somebody. It's really interesting, right? So here's the deal with energy, is that it's all around us. Some we can see and some we can't. And why don't we ensure that all of the energy around us is good energy, right? Have you ever walked in a store and gone, ooh, this place feels creepy? Or you've been next to a person and you thought, man, I want to get away from them. Well, that's non-beneficial energy in its finest. Okay. And so I clear houses, I clear rooms. There can be negative spirits in them, or there can be negative energy. Did you know that every thought you think creates energy? Have you ever looked at the work of Masaru Emoto? Okay. He has a beautiful book, and the book is a collection of his pictures. And what he did is that he played music to water. He spoke to water, and then he froze it. In the frozen state, he sliced it thin and looked at it under a microscope. The difference between positive music and heavy metal music was amazing. Okay.
I think I have seen that now that you said that part. I have seen that.
Yeah. That's where it's just music. And if you think music is spiritual information coming through very clearly. And so if you're listening to music you don't like, so hard metal or just anything you don't like, turn it off because it's impacting your energy. You know how music lifts your mood? That's energy, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Maybe that makes it a little easier.
Now, I just want to help people, other people, especially Christian believers and whatnot as well. Because I think people, again, I just think in general, like if someone's watching this, maybe they might be like, oh, she's dabbling in whatever. Like, and so
I'm not dabbling in which.
So I just want to clear it up for people,
It's not, but it's true, right? It's like I'm dabbling in all those pretty flowers and lovely rainbows and butterflies and all the happy energy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I definitely understand and where you're coming from in regards to, because I feel like, again, the Bible addresses all those things. It's it does say, I think that's the interesting thing that I find about this I guess this ongoing thing between good and evil and what people have to say. Because on one hand, people will debate all day long about, the Bible. They'll debate all day long about whether there's God or not. They'll debate all day long even about Jesus and everything like that. But then on the flip side, there's people that are so gung-ho and they will, everything that you already mentioned in regards to these rituals and all these different things that they'll do with demonic presence. And it's like, well, if there's demons, there got to be God, I mean, and things like that. But to me, it's that simple, but it doesn't seem to be that simple to everyone. I'll just put it like that. And I'm like, even if you can just look at it that way. I mean,
I think so.
People go back and forth though.
It's so black and white.
I think a lot of things may be like that, but we make it more difficult than it should be and whatnot. But
absolutely. I believe you.
So it seems like you, I guess, have found some success when it comes to this. I mean, you said word of mouth and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, I'm really busy. I'm really busy, and have been this last week or two. Has been like coming out of the woodwork, and people are coming to me that they just don't. Here's what they might feel. They just don't feel pointed in the right direction. Things aren't working right. They might not have the job they love. Their health might not be quite right. I had the woman on Saturday who is having terrible thyroid problems. And they might have trouble with their children. But most of the time, it's like, I would say, they're issues that you might go to a counselor for, right? And what ends up happening is, what I've found is that when I clear these energies, they can get past their issues, or they can go talk to a counselor and they can then help where they couldn't help before because the energies were blocking them. So, people just end up with day-to-day problems that kind of make sense. It might be a relationship issue. I have one woman I'm working with, their husband wants a divorce and she doesn't want it. And so I'm helping her, keeping her clear so that she either accept it or keep trying, but it's not going anywhere. Keep trying with the husband. He's kind of batting her off. So all of these typical issues that we face in life are ones that energy can be blocking you. And, let me talk about something else, okay, which is generational issues. So generational energy. So part of what I clear is you might have an innate anger, but when I test you, I don't get it belongs to you. So I have part of my clearings will clear back 25 generations. Okay. So I clear whatever is caught up in the DNA back 35 generations. It just depends upon the person and the situation. Deep emotional issues are passed down from mother to mother to mother in the DNA that's in the mitochondria. So I make sure that all that gets reviewed and looked at as to, which emotions are stuck in your DNA and they don't even belong to you, right? It could be fear, it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be depression. I see a lot of people with depression and anxiety. Oh my gosh. Do you know that energies can cause that? And it's not even the person, but then they found this, they're on all these medications that aren't doing any good at all. And so my goal for a person that comes in with depression and anxiety is to remove the energies that are creating this and to help them ease off medications at whatever timing and schedule their doctor can support, right? So to try what it's like to live their life without the meds. So I got off of medication. I was on medication for my back pain. Okay. And I could hardly at times move. And so I decided I wanted to be on the floor playing with my grandchildren. So I did one of those, I told you, my little one commands about, I don't know how I have perfect back health. Remember, we want to talk about what we really want, not what we don't want, which is back pain. I only know I do now, and I'm grateful and fulfilled. And I was teaching a class on the one command, and I was doing that one consistently as my one command. And then I stopped teaching the class, so I stopped thinking about that one command. And I went to do another class in the one command about a year later. And I went and I looked at that sample on my note cards. I went, oh my gosh. And all the people in the class said, what's wrong? I went, I don't have back pain anymore. Okay. And so I literally went off all my medications, and I was on breakthrough meds. and I went off all my medications. I got my health back, and obviously I cleared energies to get there, right? And so I don't have back pain anymore. None. Mm-hmm. So, you know, these things that we have, here's the cat, that, come on, don't put your butt in front of the camera. All right. So she wants her meal. So it really, really, really works, right? So we can get rid of those things, the pain. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, hey, you know, to me, again, that sounds like speaking those things that are not as if they were and all that, you know, speaking it, or, you know, walking my faith and whatnot as well. So, I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot there in regards to at least some biblical principles and whatnot that it seems like you're operating in and whatnot. And I think overall, you know, that we definitely as believers need to have this conversation more, because again, there are things that we go through in life or live out where, you know, like you said, sometimes it could be just that step of faith or that word in action, that thing. And so, I mean, I don't know how much time you got. I was going to ask, like, you know, so what would this look like if you had a client to come to you and whatnot? But if not, I mean,
go ahead, you can ask me one more, of course.
Yes, I mean, I guess, you know, if there's a client and they come or they call or whatever the case is, like, what do you want to share a little bit of that process? And
absolutely, right. So first clients, I typically do a 2-hour session on, okay? And I go through everything. So we talk about what's not working in their life. It's normally more than one thing. We talk about what they'd rather have. So we talk about the opposite, okay? And then the third thing we do is I create an intention statement, all right? And so the intention statement goes on the top of my protocol form. And the intention statement can be anything like, I don't know how, you know, it could be having a good job and a good marriage, or that I have a baby, or it could be, you know, I'm on my perfect path to my purpose. Everybody's is different. So then I look for all the energies that are keeping them from achieving that intention, because that intention normally feels pretty distant to them. I'll never do that. Okay. So that's a full first session. I charge $275 for it. Okay. So people come to me for tune-ups all the time. I charge $150 an hour. Even for a first session, I could do a tune-up for someone where I'm just looking at one particular thing and doing it rather in 30 minutes or something. That's $75. So it's $150 for the first hour, $135 for the second hour. I even have clients, I have a lawyer client that texts me all the time to help her. Please clear this judge, clear the courtroom for me, or her daughters, you know, they're ready for dance recital. Please clear them, right? So, and then I charge her and bill her at the end of the month. So I'm charging her in 5 and 10 and 15 minute increments. So I work in so many different ways that if a person has a feeling of what they would want from me, I would address anything. Right? Because I'm just here to help. Does that make sense?
Well, hey, there you have it. I mean, you know, so where can we find, you know, you or any resources you may have or want to share at this point?
Okay, absolutely. So I'm offering a gift at awakeninglifeenergy.com. And if you go in there and opt in, you're going to get about 8 different tools from me. I teach about 56 tools in my A Course in Awareness. So, and then you'll land on my website. That's where you'll end up. But for someone who just wants to text me and find out about some energy, I don't mind giving out my phone number, because I don't have people mess with me. God is in charge of my phone, right? So my phone number is 214-504-8008. So I just want to be accessible to people that have a question or have a concern or a need. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Miss Alida, you have been very informative for us tonight, technically. And so I just want to say, you know, thank you so much for visiting us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome back anytime.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you so much for watching God, Sex, and Love. And thank you to Miss Alida Morrill for joining us tonight. I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation. If nothing else, friends, I hope that you all know that at the end of the day, there is truth to all the supernatural talk and things. And so I say, this is my humble opinion, let's stay rooted and grounded in what the Bible has to say about it. And I'll leave you all with this tonight. And that is, let me see, Matthew 21 and 22. It says, "And all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive." Friends, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And check out Miss Alida for all of her endeavors. Good night.